turnovers, very disappointing in the loss. Ultimately, going back and looking at the film, didn't make enough plays. I mean, that's the bottom line. Anytime you have a one-possession game, one team is going to make the plays, they're going to win the game. We didn't make the plays offensively, 4 drops. We didn't have many plays, didn't throw the ball many times, 20-some times. And so when you do that, if you don't make those catches to extend drives, it's going to be a long day for you. I thought defensively, did not play great on that side of the ball as well. Missed tackles. We got guys in position to make plays several times, and we didn't knock the ball down, didn't make the play. They made those catches, extended their drives. Thought Fafita played outstanding, great passer, and their receivers made some really good plays as well. Their running backs went hard. Defensively, holding them to 5 field goal attempts was awesome, including a miss and then a block. That was great. Punted the ball well. Knocked down the field goal. That was certainly some positives in that game, but obviously didn't make enough plays. They're a good football team, as we talked about all last week. So excited about this opportunity. BYU, great team. Kalani's done a phenomenal job there. Very mature team, physical, big, coached well. Defense is one of the best defenses in the country. Offensively, coming into the season, they thought, okay, well, a new quarterback, they're maybe struggle a little bit, but Bachmeier's played outstanding. He's playing like he's an older player, like an experienced player, plays with great poise, throws the ball really well, and then can run the football, which is, he's done a great job as a dual threat. Big running back, he's a great player. And then number 2 is an outstanding receiver. We played against him 2 years ago. And 11 creates some big-time plays, has some great speed. And then they're very, very good in the special teams as well. So not too much weakness when you think about BYU. A team that's used to winning. I think they're 20-3 in the last 2 years. So an outstanding football team. Opportunity for us, our seniors, senior day for us. So 22 seniors will be coming out for the last time. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of emotion out there. And guys like Gavin Gerhardt, he's going to make his 47th start, which is incredible. One of the best leaders I've ever been around. And, of course, Corleone and some of the other guys. It's just a special group. And so exciting day for them as well. Any questions?
You'd mentioned after the game that Evan Pryor and Caleb Goody should be back this week. Any update on that? And are you surprised how much you missed them?
No, I'm not surprised how much we missed them. We certainly, 2 big playmakers for us that have great speed. That's certainly something that you want to have on the field. We feel good about both those guys being available this week. Obviously, as the week goes on, we'll know more, but feel good about those guys. Goody for sure will be ready to go. And Pryor's, I said this last week, he was very close last week. I still feel good about him being available this week.
Running game, you had the 2 big explosive plays with Tawi, but then I think he was 10 for 26 and the rest of his carries. When you went back and watched the film, what did Arizona do to quell that, and what can you do against BYU?
Well, one of the big runs, had him stopped on the right side. He did a good job of just bouncing it, and creating a big play on the back side of that run. They're a good defense. We knew that coming in. I think we popped some good runs in the first quarter. I think we had 140 yards after the first quarter, so some big runs there, to get us some points on the board and score. But they're a good defense. They muddy up the front, a lot of movement, a lot of twist, using their linebackers. They're good in the secondary, so they can do a lot of different things. And I think their 3 safeties I thought played really, really good football as well. 43 is a good football player, play a lot of ball. And I think we just, we're not consistent enough in the run game there late in the game. Particularly when we had the 1 touchdown lead, 14-7. I thought our defense at that point was getting them off the field and holding the field goal attempts, and that's where offensively, we needed to attack to get up 2 scores. You get up 2 scores now, okay, maybe a different ball game. We never were able to do that, and then in the second half, when we were moving the ball some, we couldn't get them off the field. We score to make it a 1-possession game, 3-point game was 6.5 minutes. And then we got the ball back, I think, 1.5 minutes. So we did not play complementary football. Like when one side or the other needed some help, we didn't do it, and I think that was a big part of that game.
Coach, you mentioned two standouts on the offensive side of the ball for BYU, L.J. Martin and Chase Roberts. What stands out about them, and what do you remember from the last time you guys played? Obviously, those two had 3 touchdowns combined.
Yeah, good players. I remember size, really. I think, number 2 is a long player that can run, has really good hands. I remember the play out there on our sideline, Threats is sitting there, it looked like he's getting ready to pick the ball, then all of a sudden 2 comes out of nowhere and catches it and zigzags and scores the touchdown. And the running backs, I don't know how big, 230, 225, I don't know, he's a big back that has speed. I think is he leading the Big 12 in rushing maybe? I mean, he's good. And I think he missed a game or 2 with some injuries, but he came back. I mean, he's a really good player, a very solid player. I just think they're very efficient in what they do offensively. And Bachmeier's taking care of the football. I think the one game they turned it over a couple of times, maybe against Texas Tech. That was the one game they lost this year. So they just very efficient offense, and therefore, when you play great defense, with efficient offense, you give yourself a chance to win.
Scott, the last 2 games obviously haven't gone the way you guys hoped for, but is there anything you can take away from them that you think this is what we need to do to take that next step towards becoming a championship caliber program in this conference, which you guys have been close to this season?
Yeah, I mean, I just think you have to play a complete football game. Like in all 3 phases, you have to be very, very solid. I think about the teams that are good in all 3 phases. They're usually the teams on top. I think think about Texas Tech right now, the way they're playing football, BYU, the way they're playing football. All 3 phases are good. Even if you look at a national scope, like Indiana, who's done an unbelievable job, go look what they're doing on offense and defense. Like, they're top 5 in the country in both. It's amazing to me, like, how good you are at all 3 phases. If you have one side of the ball that is not doing what they're supposed to do, it is going to be hard to win. You can still win, but it's going to be a lot more difficult to win. So in order to be that championship caliber team, you got to be really solid in all 3 phases. Just like Saturday, I thought special teams, we were solid. We were good enough to win in special teams, man. We did some good things. We got to be a little bit more consistent on the 2 sides of the ball. I mean, that was the bottom line in that game. And then having said that, we still had an opportunity, a chance to go win that game. You just got to make a few more plays. It just makes it a lot more difficult because the margins. We talked about this all year. The margins in the Big 12, man, they're tight. A play here or a play there could be the difference in the game, and that's proven to be true.
If you look at Bachmeier's and Sorsby stats, they're almost carbon copies, almost the same build, same type player. Can Brendan bounce back after 2 games? Obviously, he's had difficulty with the man coverage and all that, and you kind of know what's coming. Is it in him to bounce back?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I said this after the game. I mean, we had 4 drops, potentially 5 drops in that game. If our guys catch the football, then his stats are going to look a lot different, And I think that's the part. It's not just Brendan. I thought he had a really bad decision on the first play of the game. Like, that was awful. But really after that, he really played pretty good. I mean, he threw the ball good. I mean, that post ball, which has been 45, 50 yards added to his stats. I mean, you got to catch that ball, And I think, our receivers be the first to tell you, yeah, I got to catch that, And I think so. It's not just on one player. I mean, I think it's the whole team. You got to protect good. You got to run the good routes. You got to make the catches. So yeah, absolutely, he can bounce back. I think that's what we're practicing for and striving for, to go out and play well and to be clicking on all cylinders.
How much man are you expecting to see against BYU?
There'll be some man. I mean, that's what they do. Play man, play 3. They mix it up. You're going to play a lot of different things. I think they're really good on defense. I think they've created a lot of turnovers because of that. I think their corners are good. They're where they're supposed to be. Their linebackers make plays. I mean, a lot of people talk about their linebackers. I mean, they're long, can run, they're physical. Yeah, I mean, they're a solid team. So we'll see a little bit of everything, but they're going to do what they do.
Does a part of you, after the struggles with man, do you want to not really tear it down, but be more experimental to try something different, or do you stick to what's gotten you to 7-3?
No, I mean, I think we got to obviously try to do things that will get us in a position to make plays. So whatever that takes. It's one thing that we can sit here as coaches and we can draw up all kind of stuff, but then our guys have to go execute. So that it takes both of that. We have to put our players in position to make plays. Then they have to go make the plays. I mean, you have to get the protection. You got to make the throw. You got to make the catch. and it's difficult playing against good defenses. If you guys look up defensive pass efficiency in our league, Arizona, where are they ranked? Top 5. Utah, where are they ranked? Top 6. I think Arizona's 3 in the country. They're number 6 in the country. There's 136 teams. They're pretty good on defense. This team is too. I think this team's ranked 13th in pass efficiency defense. So, we're playing a lot of good teams with that. When you're playing those teams, there is less room for error. You have to be on point. Like, you have to run crisp routes. You have to throw the ball on time. You got to be able to make contested catches. So all those things come into play. And, if you're not, it's going to be one of those days you're going to look up and look at the stats, and it's not very good. So you got to be on point. We got to continue to work to get better.
Coach, you've obviously been around a lot of veteran leaders throughout your coaching career. Is it going to be a little emotional on Saturday night seeing Gavin and Dante take the field for the last time after pouring their heart and soul into this program the last
Absolutely.
5-6 years?
It's the finale for those guys in Nippert, man. And for those guys in particular, I think about Gavin, who's committed as a sophomore here in high school. That's a long time, man, that he's been in this blood, sweat, and tears for the Bearcats. And for him to go out, and I think it's just the last time he knows he's going to be running out in the stadium there. It's going to be very emotional for those guys, but also for us coaches because of what, particularly those guys have done for this program. They've seen a lot of change and coaches, new conference and all that. But, man, they're great human beings, and, they obviously have bright futures ahead for them.
Have you ever lost the coin toss this many times in a season?
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's literally like it's almost like it's happened every week. And then I feel like every time before half, the team goes down, maybe gets 3 points or something, and then they get the ball back again, and then they're just driving it again in the third quarter. And I feel like I've talked to Sorsby about this. I feel like we've waited on offense for the time is like over an hour from the time that we were on the field before until we actually get back on the field. It's wild. We somehow lose it every time, and it's supposed to be a 50-50 chance, but we have not gotten it.
When you had those 2 back-to-back offensive possessions where you scored and it looked really efficient, what did you do on those? Was it breaking the long runs that kind of just helped, or was there something else?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this. I think offenses, and particularly ours, you're getting a little bit of a rhythm. So once you get that first down, all right, you feel like, okay, now we're rolling. Then you make the next play, and it's just a good rhythm. It's just a good feel. And I think some drives it just clicks. Other drives, if you think about some of the 3 and outs, if you try to throw the ball maybe on first down to change up the first down play from a run pass perspective, and you don't hit it, well, now it's second and long. Well, then what do you try? You try to run a play here and you get 2 yards, well, now it's 3rd and 8. And they're playing right into their hands. And I felt like that happened a few times Saturday. And against a team that's that good in pass defense, it makes it really difficult. But if you can stay on the sticks and just keep that rhythm, then I think that's where you can go down and really get those drives and score points.
Scott, going back to my last question about what you've learned the last 2 games, what gives you confidence that there are adequate resources, whether it be within the locker room or outside of it, within this program, that you guys, whether it be this year or next year, can take that next step to really being at the top of the Big 12 conference and competing for championships, which, as you mentioned when you first came here, is the standard for this program?
Yeah, that's what you want to do. I think everybody wants to win championships. If you asked me that question 5 years ago, it would be a different answer than it is right now, because we all know that it takes resources. You have to have the resources in order to build your team out to be competitive. Spending money on your team gives you an opportunity and a chance. It is what it is. And 5 years ago, you didn't have to say that. You could go out and recruit, build relationships, develop your team. And now it's about retaining your team and your good players. It's about recruiting high school players, and then it's in that portal that's getting ready to happen here in December when you're trying to go around and look and see what's going to be available come January. You're going to have the resources to go out and get the best players. And that's what it takes to win championships. I mean, we got a school in our conference right now that's a top, whatever they rank, 6th, Texas Tech. I mean, it's a great example of what happens when you have resources.
It's kind of obvious, but are the guys embracing the big show again? You get the big noon kickoff coming. You're on at night, nip at night, senior night. You got everything in your favor. and they probably want some redemption based on what happened a couple weeks back.
Yeah, I think, man, it's one thing to have one of the kickoff shows to be in your program in September, when people don't really know what teams have, but to have it, we're in November 20 something when we're going to be playing. It's going to be, and we still have the big show coming in. That's pretty cool, and I think our guys have earned the opportunity for that. Not only us, but you're playing a team like BYU is a great football team, and so to be able to host that, it's great advertisement for our college and our campus to be on national TV, and we get to show that off. So our guys are excited about it. Great opportunity. I think more than anything, we're excited about the opportunity to play BYU. A ranked team coming in here to Nippert. I think that's why we're really excited about this opportunity.
A lot of these seniors who have to go out for their final game and everything. So this is an opportunity for the whole team, obviously, with the big noon kickoff and the nip at night and all that. But what can you say about the 22 guys that are going to walk out there for the last time?
Yeah, special group of guys. Mean a ton to this program. They've stuck through, the good times and the bad. A lot of them. A couple of them have transferred in and have made a huge impact on this team. So very grateful for those guys and the relationships that I've built with them. It's going to be sad, obviously, a sad time, but exciting time. One last nip at night for these guys and, hopefully send them out the right way.
Coach said BYU is expecting to deploy a lot of man. Again, do you change your mindset? Do you just play looser, or how do you build confidence through this week heading into that game, knowing you're facing kind of a similar challenge?
We kind of expected it. We expect, from the Utah game on, kind of what we were going to get. And, going back, there's a couple of decisions I want back. But overall, I thought, decision-making for the most part was pretty good. Some unfortunate, mishaps and a couple of missed throws. But, at the end of the day, it's just you just got to go out there and cut loose, and whatever happens, happens. And, we got to attack that with that mindset this week and, leave it all out there. And I think we'll like what the result is at the end of the day.
Brendan, obviously, Saturday night is the first nip at night in 2 years. You haven't got to experience it yet yourself, but what have you heard about the environment on Saturday night? Obviously, big noon kickoff, top 10 team. What have you heard about the environment for Saturday?
Yeah, I've heard that it's, obviously a great environment, and with big noon, should be a really good time. So, should be really loud. Got a really good team coming in here. We're a really good team, so we got to find a way to, battle and find a way to win this one for the fans. Should be a really good environment, and would definitely be a fun one and a big one for us.
So my eyesight's good enough to read your shirt there, Bear Raid. Is there any significance to that by chance, given Mr. Bachmeyer? And just tell me about him. You guys are kind of similar.
No, nothing really to do with him. Obviously, he is a great player, like you just said, and really talented, and really impressed with what he's doing right now, especially as a young guy. But no, we just joked about it in the off season about being an air raid offense, and then somebody had thought of the bear raid, so then we just started to roll with it. But nothing really too significant about it. Definitely nothing to do with those guys, but definitely excited for the opportunity ahead.
Brendan, I want to ask you about the human side of this, because the last two games you've had some struggles which pale in comparison to what you did through the first 8 games this season. How much do you think about how last year the season kind of unraveled through the last month of the season, and how has Coach Satterfield helped you understand this is a new season, this is a new team, to not let it happen again this season?
That just goes back to off season. We had lost, similar to last week. We lost a close one that we had a chance to win, and going back to last season, that happened pretty much the entire way down the stretch. But we got to find a way to not let it affect us, not even let that thought creep into our mind, and finish out the season strong. We're still, in a much better situation than we were last year. So we just got to go out and cut loose and just have fun and make the most of this opportunity. There's only limited opportunities left for a lot of these guys, so we got to go out there and make the most of it.
How's the ankle?
The ankle's actually in a pretty good spot, so obviously it got rolled up on, but be in a pretty good spot to do whatever I need to do on Saturday.
I'm assuming there was no chance you were going to come out?
No, especially whenever, Aaron had taped it up like he did. So, props to him. They did a good job of getting me ready to go back out there. Obviously, it was pretty painful, but was able to get the game finished.
Can you explain how a running back like Evan Pryor can help you guys against man? Like, is that just someone you can give the ball to and make plays and maybe get a first down, or is there anything else that he can specifically help with? It's
really just that, just an experienced guy that's obviously been in this situation for a few years now, and knows kind of like what we expect, and like you just said, another playmaker that can go out there and help us find ways to move the chains and put points on the board.
Obviously, speaking on BYU's defense, another top defensive team in the country, led by Jack Kelly, the linebacker with 7 sacks on the season. What stands out to you about this defense, Brendan?
Really physical, really disciplined, and they're not too complex, but they do what they do really well, and there's a reason that they have as much success as they do. And they got a bunch of talented guys that go out there and play hard and physical. So, gonna be a really tough challenge for us, but we're excited for it.
Last two, Scott and Keegan. Hate to let you go without a Joe Royer question. Looking at last year, do you see on tape, is the defense that drastically different from the way it was covered last year to this year? Obviously, he got the notoriety and everybody knows about him this year, and I know he's being doubled. Is that what you're seeing?
Even if teams are trying to take him away, we still got to find a way to get him the ball. And we all know that in this building, and we're going to find a way to try to continue to get him the ball. It's also just a matter of we got to get the pass game going in general. I've said it the past few weeks, but it's not like we're producing really as a pass game right now in general. We got to find a way to get him the ball to help us get that going. But, it all starts with me obviously being able to distribute the ball accurately, and I think the more that we can obviously get the drives going and move the chains, and we'll get more plays naturally, we'll get more pass opportunities, and Joe will have more opportunities as well. So it all starts with me, so definitely got to do a better job of that.
How much are you challenging yourself as a leader to lead guys on offense, but also guys on both sides of the ball through this and try to finish 9-3, because 9-3 is a lot better than 7-5. Technically.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. That's maybe the smartest thing you've ever said, Keegan. So we just got to go out there and like I said, just have fun. Whenever this team's playing free and we're out there playing for each other, we're a pretty good team. So, and we look back at the losses that we have had, and it's just us shooting ourselves in the foot a lot. So if we find a way to clean up those mistakes, I think we'll like where we are at the end of the year. But really, we just got to go out there and cut loose and play free and just go out there and have fun. I think we'll like where we are.
Well, Mikey, you got the guy last week. This guy is a different sized dude, kind of a big fella, but can you chase Bear Bachmeier down?
You asked that question again, I'm sorry.
The quarterback for BYU, Bear Bachmeier. You got a sack last week against Fafita. What do you see out of this guy, and can you bring him down?
Yeah, I could bring any quarterback down. I feel like it's not much of a different challenge, just going into the game, just doing the job as best I can.
What did you see against Arizona that allowed you to have so much success? Because you've contributed a lot this year, but actually getting in the backfield, making those big plays, what did you see?
Just executing the game plan the highest I could. I was very just locked in, just doing my job at a high level this week, and then just ended up being very productive. So it was just, yeah. Sorry.
Michael, obviously the last year's kind of been up and down for you, battling the injury to come back and have the performance you had on Saturday. How good was it to see the results pay off and to have that performance, a career high, 8 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss and a sack? How good did it feel to get out there and introduce yourself to Bearcats fans, essentially?
It felt real good. I felt like I was getting back in my groove, just being out there, just playing freely, having fun, and just going out there, just dominating. It felt real good. It felt good.
When you're going back out on the field after so many short breaks and you're on the field for 7 and 8 minutes of game time at a time, what do you attribute your guys' success to in that game? Is it scheme? Is it the conditioning that you've gained over the offseason? And how were you able to kind of keep up that level of play despite, getting so little rest?
Just trusting my training all offseason and coming back from my injury. I was dealing with Coach G, Coach Nico pushing me, all the guys around me pushing me, and just me pushing myself as well, because I knew these moments of the season were going to come. I know that it's a long season, and towards the end of the season is where I need to be at my best to help my team win these games in November. So just trusting my training and just knowing that I am capable. So, yeah.
Micah, obviously you've now been in Cincinnati for the last 2 years. What have you been able to learn from a guy like Dante Corleone, both on and off the field? You've played next to him this whole season on the defensive line. What's been the biggest takeaway, and how much has Dante meant to your game and what you've been able to do here at Cincinnati?
Just talking to him, he's a really good football player. So just taking stuff off of him, just learning from him, like staying how to be more consistent, just routine. Me and Dante's been banged up. I've been banged up a little bit. So just talking to him. We've been in the training room, just seeing this different perspective of another player, or a good player at college level. Just seeing how he moves, just taking notes from him for real. Yeah.
Marquez Parker's a young player who's had a lot of success when he's been able to get onto the field. What have you seen from him since you've been playing with him that, kind of drives him to work to get to that point? And then what kind of step can he take later in his career to become that really good pass rusher?
So Marquez, he is a younger DN, and he's strong. Marquez is one of the strongest D linemen we got, but he is young. So, Marquez, he's growing. He has a long way to go, and he's going to be a really good defensive end for us. Me and Marquez, really, we challenge each other for real. Me being the older Leo, he being the younger Leo. I kind of tell him what's best, like what can work, what's not. But he has a high motor. Marquez is going to be a solid player, and I really can't wait to see what he does the rest of the season. Yeah.
Micah, first home night game in 2 years here at Nippert Stadium. You haven't got to experience it. What are you expecting to see from the fans, the crowd on Saturday night? Big noon kickoff. What are you expecting to see on Saturday night, and have some of these older guys like Gavin and Dante talk to you about what Nip at Night actually is and what to expect?
Well, since I've got here, since I've came to campus, Nip at Night has been something that everybody talks about. Like the atmosphere, they say it's a really good atmosphere. So I just can't wait to see how the crowd looks, how the fans go. It's senior night, so it's going to be emotional. It's going to be loud, crazy. And I really want to send the seniors out on the right note. So that's what I'm focused on.
Who's more emotional come Saturday, you or Dad?
I think my dad will be, for sure. Last son running out there, yeah. I think he'll cry for the first time.
What about Jake? Will he?
Yeah, he'll be real emotional too because he can't come to games anymore. He still can. But he's gonna be like, dang.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. My parents were talking about that the other day about what we're gonna do next year. They're gonna be so bored out of their minds on weekends, and they were talking about getting season tickets, and I was like, let's do it.
What did you see from the defense against Arizona? Because obviously didn't come out with the win, but it seemed like you guys put the team in a position to win the game, but obviously just didn't.
Oh yeah, I mean we started off great, held them to a lot of stops, and we just kind of broke there in the third quarter, which we still got to work on that. Then towards the end, our job is to get the ball back to the offense, and that's what we did. Obviously we could have left a lot more time for them to go down the field and score, but just too many mistakes still. That's what we got to clean up.
Jack, when you look at BYU's offense, obviously Barrett Bachmeier's done a fantastic job as a freshman. LJ Martin, Chase Roberts. What stands out to you about BYU's offense?
Yeah, they're big and physical, man. They love to run the ball down the field. Bear is a great runner. That's someone that we key into stopping. The O-line's just big and physical. They got a lot of guys on the outside. Just get the ball in the perimeter, and we can stop that. I think we'll be okay.
I don't know who you can compare him to, but if he gets loose and you run into him, you guys are about the same size. Are you ready for that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's a really big dude. We just got to go low, got to wrap up, got to all rally to the ball, and I think we'll be fine. We all do that.
It seemed like there were multiple plays that came down to maybe even a few centimeters that could have led to a different outcome. The 3rd and 5 one-handed catch on the sideline,
Right.
Christian gets his hand right underneath the ball on the 3rd down. Does that just kind of speak to how brutal the game of football can be? Because you guys have had those plays come out in your favor sometimes this year, but obviously it goes against you.
Yeah, like I like to say, it's a game of inches, man. And you got to make up for those inches. You got to make those type of plays. Just those little access throws were kind of killing us out there. But it comes down to a game of inches, and you just got to make those plays.
Jack, obviously a big one on Saturday versus the top 10 team. Nip at night, first time in 2 years. Where were you when you heard the news it was a night game, and how excited are you to have your final game be that nip at night that everyone was hoping for?
Yeah, I was at home and Brady Lichtenberg walked through the door and he was like, finally nip at night. I was like, let's go. It's about time. The last like really good nip at night we had here was probably when I was a freshman, I think, or sophomore or something like that versus UCF. But, historically I've been coming here for years, and nip at night's awesome. And just our fans are awesome, and I know they're going to bring the energy for nip at night.
Coach Satterfield talked about it, but you committed to Cincinnati as a sophomore, stayed committed, probably been to Nippert Stadium like 200 times for game days. What's this all meant to you, and how much do you think you've changed, or how much have you learned since getting to Cincinnati?
It's meant the world. This place is very special to me. The people I've met here, my friends that'll be my best friends for life, the coaches I've had, the fan base, that's encouraged us and been there for me and this team for 6 years. It's meant the world to me, and it'll definitely get emotional this Saturday after I walk off the field for the last time.
What would it mean to right the ship Saturday? Because you've said we don't want to go through what we did last year. Part of the reason some of you guys came back and all that. Big time for redemption. Fox Big Noon kickoff, 8 o'clock game. Senior night, you got to wipe away your tears and go out and hit people.
Yeah, exactly. I said I won't cry until the end, and hopefully it's tears of joy too. I think we're going to have a great week of practice. That's our goal. All the leaders, we came together, and we're going to send out the seniors the right way. A lot of the leaders are seniors, and they're this is going to be their last game in Nip. So we're going to try and have a great week of practice and go out with a big win.
You'll probably say you bring the same intensity into every game you play, but is there going to be like a natural level that you'll get to playing on Nippert Stadium on Saturday, just knowing that you probably won't be able to play there again?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm already starting to feel it. I've already done a couple interviews today and answered a lot of the same questions, but I can already feel it. This week's going to be different, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a little different when I go out there this Saturday for sure, though.
What's the overall number, if you have one, on family and friends going to be in attendance on Saturday?
40 plus. I think the last game I had like 35. Obviously my second to last game here at Nip, but I've had great support from my family over the years. Like you guys know, I'm only an hour away, so my dad's family, my mom's family, both their siblings and my grandparents, as well as my cousins and my fiance's family, they're always there at the game supporting me, but upwards of 40, 50 for sure this week.
When you look back on your career, Gavin, obviously you've been through a lot here at Cincinnati. Have you had some time to recollect and think, okay, what's my favorite memory here? Obviously there's been a lot, but if you have any, would you mind sharing those?
Yeah, I haven't really reflected a whole lot yet. I think as the season winds down towards the end of it, I'm going to. The college football playoff run obviously will be up there, and then this season, the way we're going to finish it, hopefully, it will end up on top. I didn't really participate a whole lot in that college football year. Obviously, it was a great experience, but I want my senior year to be the best year I have and the best year that I've been a part of.
Gavin, you mentioned the college football playoff, your second year here. So you've seen the highs, you've seen, unfortunately, the lows too. What would you say to the team that's going to be returning next season, or whoever comes in via the transfer portal, etc., as what they need to do to be able to compete at the top of the Big 12 and for championships like you guys are close to doing this season?
Yeah, I think it starts with bringing the right guys in. Our staff's done that, that are great leaders, but also great athletes and great human beings. I think that they'll bring in the right fits, and I know the guys that are going to be coming back will, the things I did, recruiting the guys them to come here, they'll do the same thing, try and leave their mark as well. Some of them are transfers, but you talk about Tarantayo and Evan and those guys in the room that I'll be leaving behind. They want to leave this place just as good as they found it as well, and I don't expect anything less than that.
What does being a Bearcat ultimately mean to you?
I don't know if there's a greater honor I've really ever had in my life, and hopefully I go and play in the NFL and have a successful career. But this will be the top for forever, I think. This place is just, it's done so much for me, done so much for my family. It's brought my family so close together. And like I said before, it's, you know, allowed me to meet some of my best friends that I'll have for, you know, for my life. That'll be in my wedding. That'll be, you know, godparents to my children one day. It's done everything I could ever think of.
Do you remember your first game running out and what that felt like, even though maybe you didn't play? But do you remember that, and how does it feel like that's just been a flash?
I do remember. I don't remember the opponent, but I remember running out, and it was during COVID, so there wasn't very many people in the stands. It was just the family members. But it's been a crazy ride. Go from so many sellouts that I've been a part of, Nip at Nights, get another one this week, a great opportunity. But it's been one heck of a ride.
I'm going to sneak a football question in here. But Tawi had the 2 really good runs, and then outside of that, I think it was 10 for 26. What did Arizona do to kind of quell that, and then how can you guys respond with maybe a different game plan, different approach to make sure that the run game stays consistent, because you guys are known for like averaging 6-7 yards a carry, and kind of the boomer bust isn't really working.
Yeah. They switched up a lot of things. They did bring a lot into the box. There was a lot of plays where there was 8, even a couple of times where it felt like there was 9. There was one on the fringe where it was like the box was loaded. And they also did a lot where they blitzed a couple times backside, like I said in the post game. You know, after going back and watching it, they ran a lot of stumps up front. That, you know, if we just stay on our tracks, they'll pick some of that stuff up. Some of the runs can bounce front side or backside. A lot of the time there was a couple too many hats backside. So if we can seal up the front side a couple more times on the front side of those runs, we could get a couple more.
Gavin, when you committed to Cincinnati at a 15 to 16-year-old kid, did you ever envision that you'd be sitting there tied for most starts at center heading into your senior night?
No, not even. Couldn't have ever imagined that. I came in and wanted to do my part and play as much as I could. But I never envisioned that I'd be a 4-year starter, a 3-time captain, all those things that I've accomplished so far. I'm gonna start getting emotional up here. I mean, it's been one heck of a ride, though.